This is Model 2 of Lesson 5, Day 2 of Venn diagrams. A very important question, very popular on the Regents exam. Given events A and B, so they've given us a few probabilities. Probability of A is 0.6, probability of B is 0.5, probability of A or B is 0.8. Determine whether A and B are independent or dependent events. So this lesson is a bit of review. We covered proving events independent or dependent in lessons 2 and 3. So in lesson 2, this was the first test formula that we learned to determine if two events are independent, right? And I have a question mark over here because this is not really a formula, it's a test. And then lesson 3, this is the alternative one. Probability of A times the probability of B equals, or does it equal the probability of A and B, right? So let's just understand that, this is the or symbol, this is the and symbol, okay? And these are not the same thing. So you don't have to do both ways. We're just going to do it for practice. And let's see if we could get our Venn diagram to help us answer this question. Okay, so we have events A and B. And very similar to model number 1, we were not given the middle value. This would be the and statement. That's the or statement, right? So we don't know what this is. We'll call it X. They told us that the probability of A is 0.6. And again, that would really say that all of circle A has to be 0.6. So once again, it would be incorrect to put the 0.6 here and leave it. We have to do 0.6 minus whatever middle value that is. And over here too, probability of event B is 0.5, right? But again, that's all of circle B. So we have to take the 0.5 and subtract X. Okay. And we are going to take all 3 of these values and add them up. And we're going to equal it to 0.8. Because as we learned, the or statement is when we sum up all values in our circles. Okay. So you'll see this happens again, which is nice. 0.6 plus 0.5 is 1.1. Maybe some of you can look at that and just know that it's going to be 0.3. But I would subtract 0.8 and then I would add the X to the right. So we're going to get 0.3 equals X. So this is really 0.3, right? This is really 0.6 minus 0.3, right? So another 0.3. And then this is 0.5 minus 0.3, which is 0.2, right? And just for good measure, being that this is a probability Venn diagram, the highest probability you can have is 1. So we could also find the probability that events A and B don't occur, and that would be the number that we would put on this inside the interior of the rectangle but outside the circles. So 0.3 plus 0.3 plus 0.2 is 0.8. 1 minus 0.8 would be 0.2. Right, so I'll just put that down there. Okay, so now that we have all of our values, now we can go back to our tests for independent events, right? And we're going to do it both ways. I'll do actually the lesson 3-1 first. This is usually my choice. I think it's a little bit simpler than this one, but you can decide that. So the probability of A is 0.6. And if you take a look at our circle in our Venn diagram, that makes sense. 0.3 plus 0.3 is 0.6. Right? The probability of B, they told us, was 0.5. And if you also go to our Venn diagram, we can see that in all of circle B, 0.3 plus 0.2 is the 0.5. So everything is checking out. Equals, but a question mark. And the probability of event A and B happening, that is the intersection of the circles, which is 0.3, right? And then we pick up the calculator, and 0.6 times 0.5 is in fact 0.3. So now this is a true statement, and therefore our conclusion is A and B are independent events. Meaning they don't influence each other. If we wanted to use the lesson 2 version of the formula, probability of A, once again, is 0.6, right? And the probability of A given B. Okay, so whatever comes after the symbol of given is your subgroup, which is your denominator. So they did tell us that the probability of B happening is 0.5. What is the probability of event A happening given event B happens, right? So we're actually going to go to our Venn diagram. So being that our subgroup is event B, that means that our only focus should be circle B. Of circle B, what is the probability of event A happening? 0.3, right? Because the intersection of these circles is where A and B join up together. So once again, whatever comes after the symbol or word given is your subgroup, which is your denominator, right? And what we have to do is we have to focus on circle B. And of circle B, what is the likelihood of event A happening? And again, that's the 0.3. And then we would divide those numbers out. And sure enough, we get 0.6. I forgot my question mark up here. But now we have a true statement. So once again, A and B are independent events. Okay. So same conclusion, different test formula. I definitely think, at least for me, this is the one that's a little easier to work with, especially when you have a Venn diagram.